What's up guys, the Methodical Show here today for a theory video on the 100. Before I get into what today's theory is, leave a like, subscribe, and now let's get into it. The theory I've been seeing a lot on social media during every new 100 episode is people wondering, is Emori pregnant? At first I think people were just grasping at straws or were. I should also mention that there was a spoiler account who I can't confirm if they are legit or not, but they are hinting that Emori is in fact pregnant. Obviously, don't take a possible spoiler account's word for something that would be such a major development in the story. I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't believe this theory at all until I thought about it for a minute. And yeah, I think it's possible we have gotten little bits of foreshadowing every couple episodes that this might in fact be the case. There has been little bits of hints and stuff, but I'm only going to talk about in this video the most glaring bit of foreshadowing, and that was in episode 7, which the entire episode was centering around Emori and Unity Day, and there was a confrontational scene between Emori and Nikki where Nikki had asked if it was the castle life that's giving Emori that glow. Which is a bit of foreshadowing that could go over anyone's head, especially in a 100 episode where so much is happening, but we know for a fact that nothing is put into the script for no reason. Now, if that's not obvious foreshadowing, then I don't really know what it is, so I definitely think Emori likely has the pregnancy glow. The first thing I thought, if this were actually true, is that John Murphy will become a father and how much that's going to change his story and his possible end. This scares me a lot for Murphy because it would be so typical of the 100 for a character like Murphy to get the news of becoming a father and then dying shortly after. It would be so typical that we've already seen it. Not that long ago, we saw it happen with Monty in the season 5 finale, where we didn't even know he had a son until his son was already standing right in front of Clark and Bellamy and talking about his father. So they don't like to give too many characters the father-son dynamic, so I think that makes it really likely that Murphy dies. Now, I think I speak for most people that watch the show, but maybe some of you hate Murphy, but at this point I don't think many people do, but it would be such an emotional, sad death if he died after this, because until this point, Murphy hasn't really had a reason to fear death at all, and maybe that's why he's so good at avoiding it. If he found out he was becoming a father somehow, like Emori just said it to him during a situation, which might actually happen this episode coming up, and then he died after that, it would easily be the most devastatingly emotional death of the series, I think. For some reason, it's just too perfect for a character like Murphy, who, picture this, this is his entire character arc basically on the show. He started off as the antagonist, we know that, and he was an enemy to the 100 basically. He then redeemed himself, became a fan favorite, which I think does matter a little bit. Then he goes on to have a child, who we don't really know if that's happening yet, but we'll say it does for this. And he has a child with the love of his life and they just live happily ever after. I just can't see that happening. I think Murphy has always been a character that's been destined for a tragic end, kind of similar to other characters that have redeemed themselves on the show, which I think they all have at some point, but the really significant redemption arcs besides Octavia, I think like characters like Marcus, who didn't really die for that reason. You had a character like Jaha who did terrible things, and then he obviously dies, but Murphy himself, I think anybody watching the show could say his entire character was based around the fact he can outlive anything, he could survive anything. Those characters don't usually survive the end of shows for some reason. I don't know why, but they just don't. I think even Richard Harmon himself has said this in interviews when he's talking about Murphy, that that's the only way he sees that character arc coming full circle is with a death. If Emori is confirmed soon to be pregnant, I would definitely start thinking Murphy's death is approaching, so keep an eye on that as we progress further on in this season. Another possible scenario I could see if this theory is actually true is that maybe the fact that Emori is pregnant is something that we, the audience, are let in on, but Murphy isn't, and couldn't be for other reasons. Maybe he's dealing with some other people, and in the 12th or 13th episode of the season, he gets into trouble, gets shot or stabbed, and is dying, and then he gets the news as he is dying because maybe they save him, and then Emori tells him that he has a son or a daughter, and and I'm sure he would be relieved in the moment to hear that and probably make a joke or two. Then maybe we get some sort of hallucination sequence by Murphy of what his future could have been like with Emori and his child, and how they could have lived such a happy life in peace, and seeing some moments that basically he would create in this hallucination of what could have been. And this, I feel like, would be the most emotional death of the season if done correctly by the writers. But none of that is even relevant unless this theory becomes fact in the show. And if you have an opinion on this theory, if she's pregnant or not, and does that mean Murphy is destined to die this season, and leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.